I'm good. I'm gonna hit record, and we'll let it run for a minute just to be safe. And Gothic is I have wavy tentacles. Okay, thanks, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the sound waves coming out of my head? Hey, Mike did his resub too. That's 22 months. Now let's all digitally turn and look at Brian.
Hey, everybody.
I know you
love
got
these things.
Prime.
Oh, yeah. Just, Megatron is always stomping around my place. He's just like, prime this and
Prime.
prime that.
That hurt my throat. I see. Don't use your free sub on your buddy who streams. No. For a living. It's just my job. It doesn't cost you anything. It's fine.
I'm gonna go yell at my kids real quick.
You see, that's so funny because before, like when we first started the call, that's the first thing Dirk said. Ow. So, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Or should we wait for Dirk? Nah, Dirk will show up.
He's good for it.
Yeah.
So, hello again.
I mean, I was leaving a pause for future Chewie to be able to find it easier. And for noise reduction. Ow, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the mana pool, I guess? I don't know how I'm doing these.
Slowly.
But this is our first show of 2022. Hopefully not to be known as 2020 also, although these first 13 days have pretty much seemed like 2020 also.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah, it's kind of awful, just all around. But not for me. For me, it's pretty good. I'm just saying. It's everything else that sucks. But but since we haven't done a show in right about a month, because our last recording was on 12/16, it is now 1/13 of the next year. Which means, hang on, I have this in a tab in my phone. Today is March 683rd of 2020.
I wondered if that's what you were going for.
Yeah. I have a Google search in a browser tab on my phone for exactly that purpose. Because it is still March 2020 as far as I'm concerned. 683rd. 15 days to flatten the curve, but no, we gotta get people out and go shopping again. Anyway, hi, I'm Chewie, and this is our first Dorks Just Chatting of the year, where we figured we'd catch up on all the stuff that's happened, or shoot the breeze about other stuff, or whatever. So, as always, we have these other dorks. Hi, dorks!
Hi, I'm Brian, and I continue to be, for the foreseeable future anyway, the lead rambler and the tangent master. And yeah, witty aside here, it's 2022. I'm still getting used to writing the 22 at the end of dates when I'm setting court dates and stuff, and it just feels weird. And then the other day, I was making a note of something that happened last year. So, of course, I wrote 2020. And then
Well,
I'm
yeah.
like, wait, no. No. Dang it. You did the whiteout.
I'm Mike. I still pay attention to rules updates, so I'm still the rules guy. I haven't been following like the development the game itself as closely, so not as much of the game lore guy as I used to be, but I still remember a lot of stuff about other things that happened before a couple years ago. So I'm still here. I don't know if I've had to write 2022 yet. I've had to type it plenty of times, but I don't think I've had to write it yet.
I have on my first rent check, and I got it right, and I didn't think about it, which really
Cool.
weirded me out.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. I have also not played Magic itself in a very long time, but I will say that I have had multiple opportunities to write 2022 on things, and so far I have done pretty well in remembering it.
Nice. I'm trying to figure out why all my bills are paid. I haven't paid any bills yet this month.
A mysterious suitor has paid your bills. You are now in Pretty Women, and you are not Richard Gere.
You're right. I am not Richard Gere. Um. Oh, because that's on auto pay, and that one I paid last month because the power bill is weird. Okay. Sorry, while they were talking, I was like, oh, I should check my bills and pay them. And the first like four I checked were all paid, and I'm like, what's going on?
Mm.
And then I brought it up because that's what we do on a just chatting stream is talk about whatever.
That is why I'm here. So
Thank goodness. So, what's going on? What Brian was about to tell us some kind of story, and I said,
Oh,
"Wait, that sounds like a story for the show. Let's do the show first."
so it's 2022, so certainly we shouldn't have to talk about COVID, right? So instead, let's talk about COVID testing. Yes, getting the year started off right. So, um, had a lovely holiday. We celebrate Christmas, um, and father-in-law and mother-in-law and our niece came down, had a great time. The last night that they were here, father-in-law was up pretty late coughing, and we're like, ooh, we knew he's vaccinated, but I'm like, sorry you're not feeling well. And they said, we'll go ahead and get him checked out as soon as they get home. They were leaving early that morning, so they didn't want to have to try to find a testing site and then get home. They just went right home to Pennsylvania, so that's a good 8 hours away. Um, he got tested. They got tested, and he was positive, and she was positive, but remained asymptomatic. So we said, okay. So we found out about that result on December 30th, and Carrie is online looking for a testing site. I know people listen from all over. Don't know what the situation is for you either right now while you're listening to this or how it was back at the end of 2021 for you. But here, you can't find tests. You can't find quick tests at all. And you can find some testing sites. We have historically gone through a website for a professional company that does the testing. So we've used them before, have not had any difficulties. And they tell us, hey, here's where you can go, and you can pre-register, which also makes it much easier. All three of us have been tested previously in the past, always negative, luckily. And usually, like the people in front of us take quite a while because they haven't pre-registered, but then we get up there and it's about 5 minutes. So that's why it's good to pre-register. So here was looking around, couldn't find anything on the 30th. Um, was really only finding stuff a little bit in January, but then she found a site that that was doing testing on the 31st. In fact, it is a site very close to one of the courthouses that I go to, so I'm very familiar with the area. And I had been tested there before, so I kind of knew the layout. So I'm like, great, let's do that. Got pre-registered. It doesn't save you a spot in line. It just you go ahead and fill out the paperwork ahead of time, right? So it has your insurance information, all that ready to go. They opened at 11 and they go from 11 to 4 on New Year's Eve. I don't know if that's atypical because of the holiday, but we just double checked and that's when they were going to be open. We got there at 11:10. Really should have gotten ourselves moving earlier and probably gotten there before they opened. But, we figured, okay, you know, still not that bad. I'm driving past the parking lot. It's a big parking lot. And where I thought I was going to turn in, where I turned in before, clearly you couldn't turn in because the line went all the way down the parking lot. So I'm like, okay, don't turn in there. Make a right. I'm not very good describing, but basically I had to go around 2 blocks to even get toward the entrance where uh, they wanted you to go in because again, this is a big parking lot. The line stretches all the way across the parking lot, all the way. And then I was like, okay, I'm on the street that leads into it. I'm going to make a right into there. And as I'm getting closer, I realized, no, I'm not going to do that because instead, clearly what everyone was doing was you went past the entrance and then made a U-turn and got in line that way because there's an additional, I don't even remember, at least 20 cars, probably more than that, out on the street, front one with their left turn signal on. Because the reason, why would you do that, you ask? Well, because that way there's a whole lot more street that way, right? So that way you're not blocking traffic in downtown. That would be a bad idea. A whole lot more street. Everybody got it right away. So did that, turned around, Carrie downloaded an audiobook, which just for us to listen. We've been doing some of the Artemis Fowl books. They're pretty interesting. That's a little plug. And we're just going along, and it's just taking forever. But kind of expected that a little bit. Once we saw how long the line was, we're like, we're not getting out of line. We're doing this. 15 minutes go by, 20 minutes, half an hour, and we're getting closer to being able to turn into the parking lot, but we're still out on the street. 45 minutes or so go by, and then it happened. One person coming down that one way says, "Oh, this is where I turn," and put on their right turn signal.
Whoops.
And so the person waiting to make a left says, "No, you don't," and immediately cuts left to prevent the person from turning right in. This is, I think, understandable because that person had probably been waiting at that point at least probably going on an hour. Um, and you don't want that person to just turn in, innocent mistake or not. The problem now is this is a 1 lane each way road. So by doing that, now not only can that one person not continue to go down and then make the U-turn, no one behind them can. So then there's a car behind them. And then there's a car behind them, and so on and so forth until the traffic is starting to pile up on that side, on that road, which was the whole point in not trying to turn in that way. But it's happening anyway. At some point, somebody gets out of their car, speaks to, I think, the lady waiting who still had her turn signal on and said, "This is how this has been working." And I'm close enough that seems to be an amicable conversation. She agrees. She turns off her turn signal, and when they are finished going through, she does exactly what she needs to do, and she continues to go down, does not try to make the right, and I hope eventually makes the U-turn. The car behind her keeps their right turn signal on,
Oh my god.
pulls up, and when the same person tries to talk to them, she makes a motion with her hand, and it's the talkie motion where you can't see it, but I'm like bringing, holding my hand flat and then like bringing it together, just like you know, the what's the universal what's that mean? Just the universal like blah 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 symbol.
Yeah.
I'm like 3 cars down, and I'm like, really? And I look at Carrie, and she's like, oh my god. So she clearly just doesn't care. At that point, she's probably thinking, oh, I've been in line for 15 minutes. Never mind the fact that some people have been in line for, at this point, over an hour. So the people keep doing what they're doing. And when I'm next, another 2 cars go by, and I look at her and I make a gesture, like a thumb sign. And I'm trying to say, are you going to go down? And she shakes her head. So I'm like, okay. So I cut in front of her because I'm not trying to be mean, but this place is already close enough to anarchy that there's a reason that this symbol that the system has worked. And I'm think Carrie is like, where are the police? And I'm like, that's a really good question because we could use some traffic direction around here. Now at this point, the traffic is not only spilled all the like is now all the way back down to the light, but has then curved around and is now starting to build up on the block behind it. And I'm like, this is why we don't do this. This is why we can't have nice things. But we get into the parking lot, and the pace so far has been fairly regular. At this point, it's been over an hour. Mom called, and she's like, "So how did your test go?" And I'm like, "Oh, we haven't been tested yet." And she's like, "Oh, oh," because they had also briefly, only a little bit on my birthday, they had come into contact with my father-in-law. So they were planning on getting tested as well as mom is like, "I'm gonna sign your father up for Walgreens," which turned out to be a good idea. We'll get to that later. We're going in. But so far it's been fairly regular pace. We're going around and we're in the parking lot, but it's again a long parking lot. Once we're in there, a lot of the drama has stopped as far as like the turn or whatever. I'm kind of watching just to see what people do. I I eventually I think that car finally finally went straight. The car behind her made the right turn in and almost hit 2 cars doing so.
Jesus Christ.
And here's the issues at that point. Those people had been in line for a very long time and probably felt like they had done the right thing or whatever. Anyway, oh, and at one point, 2 cruisers did come, and I saw the officers get out and speak to the testing people, and I'm like, great. And they got back in their cruisers and left. So we're going around a curve in the parking lot, and I'm like, maybe we can make it out of here in about 2 hours. And Carrie's like, I don't think that's happening. I'm like, maybe. Something happens. I don't know what, that all of a sudden, like nothing is moving. 5 minutes go by, nobody's left. 10 minutes go by. I can't tell you exactly when the next car left because I wasn't paying attention to that extent. I was just trying to get into the audiobook so every minute didn't feel like 20. But I'm going to skip to the end. 3 hours. 3 hours of waiting. Now,
Wow.
perhaps some people out there listening or in chat have had to wait a long time as well, and perhaps 3 hours you're just like, yeah, you should have gone and expected it. I was just kicking myself for not getting to the testing site before they opened. But as a reference point, that would have been about 2 o'clock. And um, so I guarantee you, remember, they were only open until 4. I don't know if that meant at 4 o'clock they're like, no more, or if, they were going to try to accommodate people after that. But if they closed down at 4, that meant that there were people that were in line when I left that were not tested. Keep in mind as well that the line was several times longer when I left, like a magnitude of at least 3 times as long when I left than it was when I got there. I had to be very careful when I turned out because traffic had spilled out onto the main road so badly. And for a while there, the exit was blocked. And I'm like, this is not. So, so we got tested. And you're like, all right, Well, that's the end of the story. We were tested on a Friday. Of the three of us, I got my test results first on Friday,
Like the next
the
one?
next Friday.
Yep.
So at that point, I was like, according to the new CDC guidelines, which is its own thing, but according to the new CDC guidelines, even if I had tested positive from the last point of contact, I I could have gone in. But I was like, but I was also coughing and having some other minor symptoms, so I didn't want to go to court and be like, yeah, I got my test, and they're like, well, what was your result? I'm like, I have no clue. Cough, 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 and they're gonna be like, burn the witch, and probably rightfully so. I got my result. It was negative. I've had on and off, I think, a cold. It's been fairly consistent. Which again, the concern with that is that when you're vaccinated and boosted, like I am, it's the same. The symptoms are incredibly similar, but the cold actually still exists. The flu actually still exists. They're actually having to warn people now, hey, don't forget to get your flu vaccines. I don't know if you've seen that in the news because so many people are essentially getting tired of getting shots, but the flu exists as well. But I got mine back like 24 hours later, late on Friday. Carrie, not 24 hours later, but Carrie got her results on Friday as well. Sam, we were a little alarmed about, not because she wasn't showing any symptoms, but Sam had gotten her first shot like a week before Christmas, right after school got out. If she got a positive result, after a while she could still go back to school if she was not showing any symptoms and didn't have a fever. But the issue is she would have to wait 90 days before getting her next shot, which means she would have to start all over because that's you have to get the shots within a certain period of time. So she was like, more shots? And I'm like, maybe. But her test came back negative as well. We got that result on Monday or Tuesday. So, like, 10 days after the test. So I don't blame the company. I think
No,
I
they're
the
overwhelmed.
they're overwhelmed. The CEO of this company was in the news, and they said, yeah, the week prior we handled 3,000 cases, and then this week we handled 30,000. And you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like this is just the one company. And so it was the order of magnitude. So that was I don't blame them. Um, Gary was able to work from home. We have an excellent bar association here. I love a lot of the attorneys that I work with. They covered me. District attorneys were very understanding. That hey, this is going on. Um, while we have been sitting here, I kid you, this is going to sound like a joke. While we have been sitting here, I got an email about 10 minutes ago before I started this story that said, without saying that the judge has COVID, basically says a judge has COVID tomorrow, and of well, the judge that's on for tomorrow has COVID. So this is just, I mean, it's everywhere. I've had clients with COVID this week. It's just
Well,
so.
and that comes from one, this new Omicron variant is way more infectious than the others.
Oh yeah, oh
And
yeah,
two, this country has just given up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, the number of
Basically,
masks that I don't see is doubling like every 3 days. Like, it's just insane.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. I feel privileged to work in the court system in a county where it is still required by everyone required a vaccination status. I am very glad for that. I think it sets a good example and it's a better job of keeping everybody safe. And you're right. That's where I work. I set foot out that door and go anywhere else and it's not the case. So, I was really
Yeah,
hoping we wouldn't be talking about this in 20 freaking 22. but here we are.
Well, when half of our political system is bound and determined to keep the goddamn pandemic going as long as possible, like, what you gonna do? And then, like, the Republicans in Congress are trying to blame Joe Biden when they willfully, like, ignore or campaign against vaccine mandates that are proven to be effective. And then they turn, like, a week later and go, how come you haven't eradicated COVID yet? Mr. Biden? What?
It's
What?
like the meme. It's like the meme, and I don't know where this came. I don't know what the source of this was, but it's the guy shoots another guy in a chair, and he turns around and says, like, "How did this happen?" or whatever. What is the source of that? Where did that come from? Does anybody know?
It's some Adult Swim show that was that guy whose name escapes me, and the guy he shot whose name just all of a sudden left my brain.
Okay. Well, it's just so easy in this picture to, like, see the American public doubled over, and the self-serving
Hannibal Buress
GOP.
is the guy's name that gets shot. What is the dude?
Right. Oh, I can't remember his name either.
I can
But
I can sort of see the shape of his name but I can't freaking remember it.
Eric Andre?
Eric Andre.
Yes.
I was like, it's Andre something? No, it's Eric Andre. That's why it didn't work.
I am not familiar with that person at all. Thank you, Al.
I can't remember what the name of that show was, but it's some idiot late night. Oh, Eric Andre show. Oh, okay. It's some idiot late night thing on Adult Swim. Like everything on Adult Swim these days is just idiot late night nonsense. It turns out Adult Swim is one of the main reasons that I got rid of cable. Because it was mindless nonsense, and I would find myself sitting in front of the television for way too many hours just staring at it. And when the apartment complex was like, hey, you're going to have to get a box, and because our cable's included here, they're like, you're going to have to get a box, and it's not free. I was like, guess I don't have cable anymore. My life has been better ever since. Although I have a box now because I had to get a box and get everything all activated properly so I could have HBO Max for free because it's included if you have HBO, which I do, even though I don't pay for it because it's part of the rent. But anyway,
so you do pay for it. You just it's
technically, yeah. I don't pay the cable company for it. I don't pay Spectrum. And I said, hey, if I don't use the cable, can I get some money knocked off on my rent? And they just looked at me. Shut up, Chewie. All right, just checking. Heaven forbid anything work for the damn consumer.
That's asking an awful lot.
Do what?
That's asking an awful lot.
It really is, yeah. This is where I'm tempted to ask Mike if he started looking for a job yet, but he probably shouldn't answer that on the air. So we'll just pretend I didn't say that.
No. I mean, yeah, I'm discouraged, but it's not. I'm not at that point yet.
You're still at the job that you're at. You're not. You haven't left it yet.
No.
Okay. Wow, that was a completely nonsensical.
It really was, yeah.
The job you're at. It made sense in my head, which was probably the first indication that it was.
I didn't get fired if that was part of the question you were asking.
I guess so. I was kind of like, is Chewie alluding to something I should really know? Or I guess really not know.
No, I'm sure if Mike had been fired, he would be looking for a job.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so here's a challenge for Dirk. If I say, Dirk, what you been up to? Is it possible for you to not complain about teaching?
Yeah, I can absolutely not complain about it.
Oh, okay.
Is it possible for you to not complain about the Star Wars sequels?
I can care less about the Star Wars sequels right now.
Oh, I did finally watch the first 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, is it
I
any good?
think it's doing real good.
Yeah, I haven't seen the third one that came out yesterday because apparently now, because I watched the first 2 episodes with Amanda, I can't watch the show without Amanda. So,
Oops.
yeah, so I haven't watched the third episode yet. But the first 2 were really good.
So, I don't know about it, so don't spoil anything for me.
Everybody
Carrie
dies. I mean, what?
Carrie and I watched The Mandalorian. We showed Sam. We watched the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian all together, and Sam just didn't seem to be enjoying it. So we're like, okay, well, we're gonna watch it. Now,
Not even with the
we've actually gone
child?
back. Carrie said, if it wasn't for Baby Yoda, she wouldn't have enjoyed it. And yeah, I kind of thought too, but Sam was just like, so we just watched it. Now, with Book of Boba Fett being advertised everywhere, I was like, let's give this another shot. So we actually just finished up rewatching with Sam season 1, and came to the last part of season 1, and well, I guess Mandalorian's been out for a while, so I can talk about it, right?
Yeah, sure.
So spoiler alert here, yeah. So comes to Moff Gideon cutting himself out.
Everybody slowly digested over the course of 10,000 years.
Yeah. No, that's a
Exactly.
spoiler for Book of Boba. I mean, what?
But so we've seen all of Rebels, so I'm kind of watching for her reaction, and she sees Gideon cutting himself out with the dark saber, and she's like, "Wait, I recognize that." I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "That was from," and I had to kind of like finish it for her. I gave her a little while, and then I was like, and she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Yeah." So these things tie together.
Okay, so that
I
was a
didn't come
thing
out.
from our Rebels. Got it.
Yep.
It was also from
Yep.
Clone Wars.
That's actually the thing I meant to say was Clone Wars. Yeah. But
We
like,
got
I,
three.
I had no
No.
idea. Like when he cut himself out of the thing with the sword, I was like, "Well, that was cool, but that's not a lightsaber, huh?" And they never said anything about it until like the next to last episode of season 2, and I was like, "All right." And I figure, like Ahsoka, it's a thing that meant something to people that watch the other shows,
Yet.
Yeah.
but
I
they never even hinted at it existing anywhere else.
Whenever he cut himself out with the dark saber, I definitely my heart rate went up, going, "Oh wow, that's that. How did that happen?" And so yeah, because that thing has definitely been passed around, and the last person who had it definitely is still alive. Thus, the question of how exactly did he acquire it?
All right, that's the new
So,
that's the new
we-
joke is such and such is the neighborhood dark saber.
Hmm.
I mean, what?
It's been through 4 people's hands. No, 5 people's hands at this point.
Fair enough.
Without any spoilers.
True. So wait a minute. This all started because we interrupted Dirk before he got started.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I do. So,
Accurate.
Dirk,
Yes.
Yeah. What's up? What you been up to?
Been reviewing for the past 2 weeks, and today was the first day of exams,
Oh,
and we're supposed to do exams next week. I'm gonna put in air quotations. Supposed to.
Is this a weather reference?
Because they're based on the weather. They're saying we're going to have a lot of snow and ice.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
So
Oh
even
yeah,
though it's
like
happening on
three,
Sunday and MLK is Monday, which there's no school, the $1 million question is, will we have school on Tuesday?
Yep. We're supposed to get like 3 inches on Sunday, which around here, elsewhere, you're like, oh, 3 inches. But no, like that's actual accumulation of
That's
three
also not
inches.
including ice.
No, that's just snow.
hmm So based on the forecast that I was watching earlier, they're saying, oh, we're going to get snow. And then we're in the band to get ice. Or, sorry, frozen mix is what we're supposed to get. So what that translates to is we're going to get ice, and then it's going to freeze into a sheet of ice.
Like
We have to
glazing
translate
on a
what the
cake.
meteorologists are saying. So yeah.
Luckily, I'm quite privileged in such a way that I don't actually pay attention to the weather because I don't need to be. Like if it's too bad to go DoorDash, I just don't. But it's very rarely too bad to DoorDash. And when it's bad is when DoorDashing pays well because people feel bad that you're out in the ice. Although they should realize I'm out here on purpose because you'll feel bad for me and give me more money. And if you don't, then screw you. Yeah, the last time it snowed, when it was really really snowy for like what, the first 8 hours of the day and then it looked like it had never snowed at all.
Yeah.
I did a lunchtime dash and made really good money in like an hour and a half and I was like, "All right, I'm going home." And then that night I looked and it didn't even say it was busy. Like it gives you the region is different colors of like dark red is like, "Oh god, get out here, all hands on deck." And like no color is we have more dashers than we have orders and there was no color and I was like, looks like I'm taking the night off. So yeah, I love it when it's like snowy and icy as long as I don't get run over by other people. I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. I'm apparently one of those rare Southerners who can just handle ice. Which Facebook reminded me of not long ago when the memory of skating my ass to Greensboro to see Swift play many years ago popped up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a nightmare."
Was my brother with you too, or was that some other time?
No, this is when I went to alone.
Okay.
I think he and Molly went to the second showing. He and his buddy, whose name I forgot, and Molly went with me to the second show the next night after all the ice was not so bad.
Okay.
But yeah, I drove my ass to the tavern, the Somewhere Else Tavern, where I saw many. I went to many times in college, and yeah, where 40 was literally a solid sheet of ice, but it wasn't so bad. And then I got off of 40, and it was better, weirdly enough. And then I got to the tavern, and everything was a solid sheet of ice. Like, getting into the parking lot in one piece was hairy, let's say. And yeah, Swift played their hearts out for like the 50 of us that showed up because we all risked life and limb to get there. And Gary wrecked his voice. Like he sounded like ass the next night at the big show in downtown Winston. Like the actual anniversary show or whatever it was.
Uh-huh. Gosh.
But yeah, that was fun. I just remember it just getting on 40, especially the bridge over what is that, 68? Going towards Greensboro, the airport exit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember that bridge especially was
Ooh.
ice. I was like one of 3 cars that I saw. Like it was bad, and I'm like, I'm going to see Swift. Turns out it was a wise decision. Well,
There was at least one time where it was my senior year in college, because I was living in the house, and there was a day where classes were canceled. So I told Carrie, I was like, I'm gonna go see the guys. We're gonna play Magic, and she's like, classes are
I remember
canceled
that
because
night
it's
or
unsafe.
that day.
And I nearly skid off the road at least 2 or 3 times, but I made it. We played Magic for hours.
Hours. It
Long
was
time.
awesome.
Very long time. Dude, did you give me a DVD of that Swift show for a Christmas present, or was it something else? Another year's show?
I can't remember. I think it was that show because I don't know if I ever saw them at the tavern again.
I need to find that.
I found mine not long ago.
Nice.
I was like, oh, hey, look at this. Wow. Dirk has also been playing a lot of Halo.
Yeah.
Which one?
The Master Chief Collection.
I don't think that means anything to Mike, Dirk.
It's
Is that 1, 2,
1
or 3?
through 4.
Okay.
There's 4?
Yeah.
No, there's like 6
There's
now.
actually 5 out, and then Infinity is the 6th game.
Infinite's out now. The campaign is.
Yeah. I can't play it.
Yeah, that's a thing we were going to do last week. Because I remember seeing Dirk playing Halo in Discord. And I was like, dude. Because I downloaded Halo Infinite so I could play with Gothic. Gothic and I can party up, play one match, and his computer crashes. He can play forever by himself. But if we're in a party, his computer completely crashes. Not Halo Infinite. His computer.
Oh, no.
And it's only when we're in a party and we don't understand. He has tried every fix he could find. Nothing has worked. So we don't play Halo Infinite anymore. But last week, Brian was still sick and Mike was worked to death and Dirk was tired, but not like, let's not do the show tired. And I was like, dude, why don't you and I just play Halo Infinite? Because I'd seen him on Discord playing something. Halo, and he's like, I can't run that. And I went, what? He's like, I've been playing the Master Chief Collection. I went, oh.
Yes, the problem is my computer plays, like, it's up to specs on everything except for the video card. I have a 2 gig, and you have to have 4 in order to play. So, yeah.
Boo.
And unfortunately, we're in the midst of the great microchip shortage. So, I'm like, okay.
That and all
what I
of
can
the...
do, and yeah, I saw what I could do, and what I could do was nothing.
That and all of the crypto bros who are buying up all of the freaking video cards, driving the price up.
I mean, there was a point where I'm like, you know what? I would be willing to pay this amount for just a 4 gig. And then I looked to see what the price was, and I'm going, there is no way I'm paying that.
Yeah.
Especially when it was like, what's the price for a 4 gig? And everywhere is going like $1, like 110 max. And when you're looking around, it's like $400 and going, there is just no way I'm going to pay 4 times the price for a graphics card. That's not even the standard anymore. The standard is 8 gig at this point. It's like I jumped on that train a little too late to get a good graphics card.
Yeah, it's... It's a nightmare. Yet another reason we need to do something to handle the damn pandemic. Not that we're gonna. It just drives me up the wall just to circle back that this country has just given up on dealing with it. We're just gonna accept it. Never mind all of the immunocompromised and old and the mysteries of long COVID. You know, just everyone's gonna get it. Just shut up and deal. Jesus Christ. I hate it here. So, Mike, what you been up to? All right.
Oh, working. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, since coming back after a little Christmas, New Year's break, things at work have been just feeling pretty much like the worst parts of the past couple years. There's just too much to do and not enough people to do it and not enough time to do it and all kinds of things piling up at once and other things taking forever to finish and close out, so they're still out there when new stuff comes in. It's just like, ugh. I was actually having a really bad time of it the other day, but I had a talk with someone and came to the realization that one of my problems, like I knew it was a problem, but it's probably a bigger problem than I understood, is that I don't have much of an like a creative and intellectually engaging outlet anymore in the ways that I used to. Because I don't play Magic anymore. I stopped playing Hearthstone a few months ago. You know, I haven't done choir in a long time. I don't go out and see people. You know, etc., etc., etc. Because that's where I used to get like my mental and creative fulfillment from like other stuff. Because my job is fine. You know, I'm good at it and whatever, but it's not something that engages me in that way. But yeah, I don't have a lot of that other stuff, except for like, you know, the quality time I spend with Ashley and talking to you guys here. And besides that, that's it. So
I keep telling you, man, open invitation.
Yep, I know. Mm-hmm.
Don't even need to plan it out. Just be like, yo, can we come over tonight? Yes.
Yeah. I told Ashley you said you had Beat Saber, and she's like, yes. She's, after seeing the commercial for Beat Saber on TV or the internet or wherever she saw it, she's just really excited about trying it out.
Word? Well, then get your ass over here.
Yeah.
What you doing tonight? Oh, wait. Crap, we got plans.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Is I had the opportunity to acquire an Oculus Quest, and like VR gaming is something I've always wanted to do, but it required two things: 7 ass loads of money and a more powerful computer than I had. Mm-hmm. And the Oculus Quest bypasses both of those by being not 7 ass loads of money and entirely self-contained. Like, it's a console you strap to your face rather than, you know, having to use my computer to run stuff. And I still don't know if my computer is VR capable. I guess I'll find out when I get a link cable and like try to play, I don't know, Alien Isolation or in VR, which is a thing you can do, which sounds amazing. Like, I did a search in my Steam library for VR to see, because there's some games that have, you know, VR capabilities that I just don't use. And Alien Isolation popped up, and I went, that doesn't have VR. And I did some Googling, and there's a mod. It was going to be included, and then they didn't. But the framework is apparently still there. And there's a mod someone wrote called, I think, Mother VR. that lets you play Alien Isolation in VR, and it's really good. And I'm like, so at some point I'll find out if my computer can handle VR, because I'ma do that. But yeah, so in order to make room for the room scale things, and now, of course, I despise Facebook and its parent company Meta and all of that, and I have no interest in joining the metaverse, and like Zuckerberg can go screw as far as I'm concerned. But since there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, and I already avoid so many things, I figure, you know what, this is for me and for the brand and for the content. So I'm just gonna make that happen. And so I have. Ha! But I've done three or four VR streams now. And the first time was just like poking around with the VR experiences that are that were free, essentially. Then I found there's a site that I have bought games from before called Fanatical, and they had a Oculus Quest game bundle, and it was, I think, $14.99. And one of the games in it was a game on my list that was $11.99. And there were like 6 or 7 games in it. And I said, you know what? Why not? And the second stream I did was I played some of Accounting Plus, which is a bizarre-ass game, y'all. Like, it's by the guy who did the Stanley Parable. So it's super meta. But it's also by one of the guys who did Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland. So it's filthy and bizarre and off-putting and confusing, and what in the blue hell is going on? Like, at one point there was a little cartoon dude sticking out of a tree just cursing at me, just nonstop, until I figured out how to get away from him. And yeah, it's weird. So I played that.
Did it take you a long time to figure out how to get away from him? Or...
longer than it should have, because I was, looking around the area. Because it's in VR, you got to look around and see what you can see. And I'm glad I did, because I opened up the little birdhouse and looked in, and there was a little, like, bird TV playing bird news, which I found hilarious.
Is there a lot going on in the world of the birds right now, or?
Well, I mean, in that world, yeah, there was. It was cool.
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
And then I played a game called Somewhere, which is like GeoGuessr. GeoGuessr is a game, technically, where it just drops you in a Google Street View. And you have to figure out where in the world you are. And Somewhere is a VR version of that, except if you can move around in GeoGuessr, you can move around. It gives you like a region that you can look around for clues, but in Somewhere I didn't find out how to do that. So I think you're just, here is one Street View 360 VR image, figure out where the hell you are. Which is hard, but it was neat because it kept putting me on the side of mountains, and I'm like, the hell mountain is this? All mountains look the same. Is that racist? Geologists are like, hey. I'm like, well, they do. I was really pissed off because I recognized El Capitan, but I couldn't remember its name or where it was. I was like, oh, that's the one in Yellowstone, right? No, Yosemite. Ah, crap. And it turns out whichever one I picked, it was the other one. But I couldn't remember the name anyway, so... Yeah. And then I played, oh man, a game called Gadgeteer, which is really cool. Because, like, you're in a room, and it's the whole game of Gadgeteer is setting up Rube Goldberg machines, essentially. So I did the first, I think it was 19 puzzles, which were relatively simple because it's teaching you how to do things. But, like, there's a little starting point, and some pieces of a Rube Goldberg machine, and then an endpoint that you have to hit. And the first one was just, okay, set up dominoes so that when you push the button, they fall and bump into this one. Oh, okay, that's easy. And then by the last one I did, I had to set up rows of dominoes to go this way, across this little bridge, and up this step. And that would knock over this domino, which will free a ball up there and have to have a track. So the ball goes down over here and around there and drops here. And then hits this ball, which needs to drop and fall down there and hit this, which will push something into the target or something. And it's cool. But my favorite thing about it was the way you move around the world. Like, in some VR games, you use your joystick to, like, move forward and back and strafe side to side. And in some, you point where you want to go and teleport. And in this one, you did neither of those. You used the grip buttons on the controller to grab the world and move it around. So if you wanted to get like a bird's eye view, you would just grab the world and push down and look down at it. But if you wanted to get real low, you grab the world and pull up. And I had the floor at eye level at one point going, this is really weird, y'all. And you can turn it.
I believe it.
As you go, and I kept, like, when a ball would like fall out of the track and land, I would jump back like it was gonna hit my toe. I kept going, oh god, I keep doing that. That's not real. But every single time, I would like, huh, that's not real. Idiot. And then I finished that stream.
Remember, it's just virtually reality, Chewie. Just
right?
Virtually.
But, like, because I'm in the world in 3D space, you know, and something falls to where my toe would be, my brain, it's just an instinct. It's like, no, don't hit my toe. Oh.
Yeah.
And then I finished that stream with a game that I thought would be really cheesy and like a cash-in. It's called Zombieland Headshot Fever. And that is the game I have played the most off-stream. Because it's really good. Like, it's like House of the Dead, but in VR. And the goal is, like, to get the best time. Because when you shoot a zombie in the head twice, you get what's called adrenaline, which slows everything down. And if you continue shooting zombies in the head twice, then you get more adrenaline and, like, a score multiplier, essentially.
Yeah.
And the longer you keep your combo going, the longer time is moving slowly. And when you kill all the zombies on a screen, you go to the next section. And so... yeah, and it's got weapons and a bunch of different weapons that you can unlock and weapon upgrades in each level. Like, each one takes maybe 2 minutes to finish. And then it subtracts the amount of time you were in adrenaline. But each one has, like, 4 missions within it. Like, one is to shoot some sort of hidden secret object that you have to find in the world or in the level and shoot it. And one is usually... related to the time, you know, beat whatever time. And then there's one one is just finish the level. And then there's always the fourth one that is like, screw you. Like, there was one at the junkyard level. I did this off stream. I played it for like an hour because the extra mission was don't miss. And the shooting in this game is very realistic, apparently. There's no close enough. If you miss, you just miss. Like, you have to aim down your sights. And it's it got stressful because I would get to the end and there's one big dude that takes a whole lot of shots, and then there's others, the smaller regular zombies that are running at you, and if you just miss once, miss just a little bit, then the bullet goes past and you're like, son of a...
You have to be extremely precise.
Yeah, it was bad. Like, I got such terrible times because I wasn't trying for times. I kept letting zombies run right up to me before I'd shoot them in the face. Because I'm like, come here, I've missed you 3 times. No, come here. Yes, whatever, come here. I stopped shooting heads. I was aiming at center mass because it's really easy to miss headshots. Like, it made me appreciate actual, like, sharpshooters in real life, because any sort of idiot who thinks that, oh, I got a gun, I can do what. No, you can't.
No, no. I've been so I don't want to be like, I've been to a shooting range. No, but I did when I was a kid in Boy Scouts. Tried some BB shooting at a range, and I'm like, yeah, I've played Duck Hunt. I every kid has seen
Yeah, right.
John Wayne and that sort of stuff, and you're like, you aim it and you shoot. How hard is it? Actually, pretty freaking hard, even with a BB gun. And maybe that's just my complete lack of skill. And then I went paintballing all of once in high school. It was really, it was kind of a newer thing. Everybody was really into it. I was like, well, heck yeah, I played a lot of GoldenEye. I'm great at this. And I think the
I play
only,
paintball mode in GoldenEye.
yeah. And I spent the whole session being like, oh God, I don't see anybody. Oh God, and just kind of running around. And being scared to death of like not knowing what was going on because it was really well set up areas out in the woods, and um it was great for paintballing. I was not good at all, and I think the only guy I shot, I'm not entirely sure if time had been called at that point. So yeah. Don't count on me being like riding up and like, oh, I got this, because I'm much more likely to harm myself than anyone else. But yeah, in all seriousness, like, and I've spoken to several police officers as part of my job, and they're like, yeah, the media, every movie, every TV show makes it look like at point blank range, you can't miss, and you can totally miss stuff at point blank range. Kind of how firearms work. To say nothing of then when there's any distance at all between you. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it's
So it
pitiful when
sounds
I've
like
got
it
a
was
zombie.
actually,
I'm lined up in my iron sights, and I pull the trigger 3 times, and the health bar does not go down at all. And I'm like, what just happened?
yeah. So it sounds like, aside, yes, zombies, but otherwise sounds like that was somewhat realistic in terms of how precise you had to be. But just because something is realistic does not mean that it's enjoyable. Like, most people don't just want to feel like they're hitting their heads in the wall over and over again. So
Yeah.
it didn't sound like you were still playing it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, you
I
are? Okay, I
like I love
misunderstood.
it. I've put the most time into that game off stream is all, and I did another stream where I played that for like 2 hours
Okay, I misunderstood. All right.
because it's a lot of fun. Like it's a way better game than it has any right to be named Zombieland Headshot Fever. It sounds like a really crappy cash in, but it was included in that bundle, so I went, like all of these other games cost me $3, so if I prorate it down, it's almost certainly worth it. And I've really liked Gadgeteer and Zombieland. Hey Piccolo, thank you for that 13-month resub.
Nice.
But then, so that was the end of the second VR stream. The third one, I played zombies for a while, and then I got tired. Well, because I've noticed, so I'm left-handed, so I have my pistol in my left hand, and my special gun, whether it's a machine gun or a shotgun, is on the right. But since I'm left-handed, that means I aim with my left side, and my right foot is planted, and that's the one I pivot on. So it gets sore. My knee especially is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm sorry. We're killing zombies. I can't bend my knees when I'm killing zombies. I'll miss. So yeah, I played that for a couple hours, and I was like, all right, you know what? My knee is starting to hate me. Let's do something else. And I had downloaded the demo for Beat Saber and for Super Hot and for Creed Rise to Glory, I think it's called. So I played the Beat Saber demo, which consists of one song. And I was like, holy
Is
crap, this is really good. So I have since bought Beat Saber. I played the Super Hot
is
VR demo, and it was really freaking cool. Wait, Brian, you were about to say something there a couple times, weren't you? My bad.
Well, I was gonna. No, that's all right. And you might have answered this had I let you get to it, but I was just curious if Creed Rise to Glory was based off of the band or if it was based off of, Apollo Creed.
Neither. It's Apollo Creed's, I guess, son or grandson. I don't know. I
Well,
haven't seen the Creed movies, but the newer two Creed movies that are the later
I think
sequels to
that's
the
his
Rocky
son,
movies.
yeah.
That had Michael B. Jordan.
Supposedly
as
those movies are,
Creed.
yeah, supposedly they're really good. I just haven't really gotten around to watching them.
Yeah,
but-
they're not. They haven't ever
Oh,
been on
dude,
any
it's-
streaming service I have, so I've never seen them. Well, the first one hasn't, and I wasn't gonna watch Creed 2 if I hadn't seen Creed 1. So, but Beat Saber, for those
Eternals is
that
now on
somehow
Disney.
have lived in a hole, it's sort of like Rock Band, but instead of notes coming down a track that you have to hit at a certain point, they're blocks that are flying at you that are a color and an arrow, and in each hand you have like a lightsaber. Like in your left hand, the default is left hand red, right hand blue, and you have to swing in the direction that it tells you with the same colored lightsaber, and it's to the beat of music, so it's Beat Saber. Hey, and it's really good. In fact, there's one song from the original music pack that is just permanently stuck on a loop in my head, and I really like it, but I'm starting to get sick of it.
Is it is it like licensed music or music specific to the game?
I don't know because it's EDM music, so
Oh, okay.
Or,
So it could be anything.
which is redundant. So it could be licensed music. It could be original. I have no idea. It does have, much like Rock Band, song packs that are licensed music. Like when I got the game, I got it with the Imagine Dragons music pack because I thought about the songs that were in it, and I went, those will be good. Yeah, one of them kicked my ass on normal. I think it was Radioactive, actually. Just beat the crap out of me on normal. I was like, oh, I failed it like 3 times in a row. Went, clearly I'm not good enough for this song yet. But there's a Lady Gaga music pack, which I'm totally going to get at some point. There's a Green Day music pack, weirdly enough. There's a Linkin Park music pack, which I'm very excited to try out at some point. There's a BTS music pack, who's apparently like the biggest K-pop group in history, which they must be because I knew that. And I'm sure there's a Billie Eilish music pack. And Amanda's like, oh my God, did you get it? I'm like, I don't know any Billie Eilish music. And she just looked at me like I was speaking gibberish. I've determined, by the way, this is how I express my old. Like, I love like video games and movies and TV shows and all of this new stuff, new technology. Like, I got a virtual reality thing. I'm all about the internet and all that, but music, nope.
That is, in fact, how it has been done for age upon age.
Yeah, but usually it's
And-
like a combination of all of these things. But no, for me, it's like just music. I just don't care about. It's not that I don't care about modern music. I just don't care about music enough to bother listening to it. Like when I'm in the car, I've got a podcasts going because I'd rather listen to people talk at me, but not audiobooks because I can't listen to anything with plot if I keep having to stop and get out and get back in and then look at my phone and figure out, do I want this order? Stuff with plot, I lose the plot. And then I go, son of a bitch, what are they talking about? So that's why it's podcasts. But yeah, she told me you've totally heard at least one of these songs. I said, maybe. But I listened to the little snippet that it'll play of each song without if you don't download it, and I'm like, nope, not one of these sounds familiar. There's like 8 or 9 of them in the music pack. And it's like, oh my god. I'm like, I don't listen to music. I'm sorry. And if I do, I listen to music I already know. Because if I'm listening to music, it's because I want musical comfort, not new experiences.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
How dare you?
How dare I?
I don't know.
Chelsea's the only
That's
one
really
who
the
actually
question,
gives me
isn't it?
songs for me to listen to.
Wait, say
Like
that again,
new
Dirk?
songs. Chelsea is the only one who introduces me to new songs. Because she listens to the radio. Although increasingly she has also been listening to audiobooks. So even she's starting to not be up on the new songs.
See, it's not just me. But, like, it's not that I think that new music sucks. That was the thing for old people before I was old, was, I don't listen to that crap. What is this crap? Which is what like Brian said, that's how it's been done for ages, is new music
sure.
sucks. I don't think new music sucks. I just don't care about it. Like, I'm sure if someone said, this song is amazing, listen to it, I'd be like, that song is amazing. But I don't care. Like, man.
Back in the 16th century, parents were like, "How dare you turn off that Johann Sebastian Bach? I don't want that music played in my house." Kids these days.
Exactly. But so yeah, I played the super hot demo. Like I said, it was awesome, but I haven't bought the game yet because no rush. I'm looking more for things to. I'll get to the Chewie self-improvement plan here in a minute, but I played the Creed demo, and it was neat, but it was a little wonky. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so I looked at the reviews, and like several of the reviews said this game is pretty good, but just get Thrill of the Fight instead, because it's like a third of the price. And I went, what's this? So I found Thrill of the Fight in the store and scrolled down to the reviews of it, and they were like, wow. And it was like a $10 game that had like a 4.5 or 6 or 7 or something out of 10, and I went, or out of 5, and I went, ooh. And I scrolled through the reviews of that, and they were like, good lord, play this for like an hour every day and you will lose weight, you will sweat your ass off, you will get buff, this is insane. And I went, yeah, all right. And like multiple reviews said that, and I was like, all right. So I bought it, and I tried it out last night, actually, after I didn't stream, because I forgot to eat lunch yesterday because I'm an idiot. So I had a killer headache when I got back from door dashing, and I was like, I can't. And then I ate dinner, and then I dozed off. And when I woke up, the headache was mostly gone. And after a little while, the headache was completely gone. And I went, yep, I was just, hungry. But at this point, it was like 10:30. So I went, well, I'm not going to start streaming now because literally no one will be there. So I came back here and put on the headset and did another couple of Beat Saber songs. I went, oh, let me try Thrill of the Fight. And it's got 4, like, training things. So there's, like, the dummy, where it will register how hard you're hitting and show you weak spots to hit and stuff like that. There's the speed bag, the There's the heavy bag, which is, the big one. And then there's the focus ball or focus bag. Focus ball? I think it's focus ball. The one where you punch it and it's on, like, it's suspended from the floor and the ceiling on elastic bands, and it, like, flies out and then comes back and you have to dodge it. And I played with each of those for, like, a couple of minutes each and went, all right, let's do a fight. Oh, sparring partner. Okay, let's do sparring partner. And I beat him, and I was like, all right, let's do a fight. And by the time that fight was done, I was drenched in sweat and couldn't breathe. I was like, and I went, okay, I'm done for the night. But yeah, apparently it's super realistic, and it's, except for the getting punched in the face part. in its depiction of boxing. It's not like Punch Out at all. And I was just gassing out like any, amateur idiot person with no training would have done when boxing. And so yeah, I need to learn how to pick my shots and not just, wail on the dude's stomach until he moves his gloves, and then wail on his face until he moves his gloves, and then wail on his stomach. That's not how you box, dude. At the end of round 1, I was like dying. Like it was bad.
So, the Virtual Boy gets a lot of crap.
It does, and rightly so.
And rightfully so. But I remember renting it when it came out. Never bought one. And they had a boxing game on it. And a couple others like
Telero Boxer, I think it was called.
Maybe it's not something. I mean, I remember getting it, like renting it, and playing the heck out of it. The only problem is every now and then you need to like basically recalibrate it, or recalibrate the Virtual Boy because it would stop working correctly and displaying correctly. And I'm like, oh, this is why I'm glad I never bought one. I just rented it from Blockbuster Video. Oh yeah. But that game I really enjoyed. And that game had a serious learning curve, but it was very much in the league of like easy to grasp but tough to master.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. It was not like what you're talking about now, where you're actually physically moving because you're still pressing the buttons. But the Virtual Boy was surprisingly not super virtual reality-ish. It was just a different way of displaying, But that game I really enjoyed. The Wario game that you also got with it was awful. Just terrible. Tried that one once or twice, and I was like, this is just torture. But what do you... Teleboxing?
Yeah, it's called Telero Boxer.
Telero Boxer, yeah.
Like, Telero Boxing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. That I
Sorry,
enjoyed.
Telero Boxer. My bad.
Close enough.
Yeah, the Virtual Boy was, as most Nintendo products are, way ahead of its time. Sadly, it was so ahead of its time that it didn't actually work.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad when they've determined the best way to play it is to lay on your back and strap it to your face. But don't turn your head. Either that or put it on a table and break your back bending over to put your face up against it. So yeah, I mentioned the Chewie self-improvement plan. This is not a New Year's thing because I actually started it at the end of last year. But whatever. I've decided to try to improve myself in some ways. So I stopped. Breakfast used to be Mountain Dew and a Pop-Tart every day. Like Mountain Dew because my caffeine addiction involved getting a headache at around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, depending, if I hadn't had any caffeine. I wasn't one of those people that I need coffee in the morning to function. It's just, if I don't have caffeine in several hours, I will be in pain.
Mm-hmm.
And Pop-Tarts have, zero nutritional value. So I decided...
Actually, I think. Yeah.
Do what?
Negative value, yeah.
Oh, that's entirely possible, yeah.
I mean, I eat them too, so yeah, but go ahead.
But I decided I would try to stop that and stop having soda in the house and stop buying Pop-Tarts. So I was like, I need to figure out something else to do. So instead of eating breakfast of some sort, because my alarm is set for 10 o'clock because I'm up late, so I don't get up till 10. I was like, instead of eating when I get up, I'll just wait an hour or so and then just make sandwiches. Because I was eating Mountain Dew and a Pop-Tart for breakfast, and then like a snack or something before I would go DoorDash, and then dinner when I got back home from DoorDashing. Which is almost certainly bad for my metabolism, which is slowing down as I get older. Because, like, no food all day but snacky stuff, and then big-ass dinner. So, I decided to do that. I'll just start making sandwiches again, which I stopped doing because with the Pop-Tart and the Mountain Dew, sometimes I just didn't feel like eating an actual meal. And that's a problem because then the bread goes bad. So when I would buy bread, what I was actually buying was a chore. Like, I have to eat this before it goes bad. Like, do I want sandwiches? No, but I have to have them. Son of a bitch. So I successfully got rid of all the dew in the house by drinking it. And when I went to the store, I'm such an idiot. When I went to the store to buy other drinks to, like, drink instead, like I got some green tea and some more strawberry banana V8 Fusion and, like, some Arnold Palmer, whatever. I also bought a 2-liter of Mountain Dew because it was a new flavor. I was like, ooh, Uproar. It's berry and kiwi? Ooh, and I just threw it in the cart, and I didn't even think about it until I got home, and I was putting stuff away, and I went, did I really buy more Mountain Dew? Like, I didn't buy any more 12 packs of cans, but I did buy another freaking 2-liter. But, like, I'm not going fanatical about it. I'm not giving up soda and, or giving up caffeine. I just don't want Mountain Dew in the house anymore.
Yeah.
And, so that was the first part. Then I got the Quest, not only for the content, but also for health, because I know I should take my ass out and walk around, but I'm not gonna. Like, I was in the groove. I did that every day, like, during the first part of the pandemic. Because everyone was like, oh, look at you, the quarantine getting to you? I'm like, nothing's changed for me. I've been sitting on my ass for years, so I'm trying to fix that. But eventually I just stopped doing that because it got hot. Like, super hot. Not like the video game. That would be awful. But it got real hot, and I stopped for a couple weeks, and then I just never picked it back up again. So that's bad.
Yeah, been there too.
So
Best of intentions.
That's why, like, I bought Beat Saber over Super Hot. It was because this is the thing that I will do because it's a lot of fun. That is cardio. And it doesn't take long to start sweating. Partially because, I'm chubby. But still. So that's the thing. I had to when I got the Quest, I forgot to mention this part. I had to rearrange the entire office. Not the entire office, but anyone in the Discord or that comes to the streams has noticed that things are different now. So we had to, Amanda helped me. There were 2 bookshelves that were in front of the desk. One is over there and one is over there. So I've moved them out of the way. I've pushed the desk up against the wall. Not all the way up against the wall because I still need to get back there for things like the computer and whatnot. But then it turns out that because and then I mirrored the desk. So I was sitting here facing forward and the rest of the desk, because it's an L-shaped desk, was on my right. But now it's on my left. But because of the way, angles work, when I sat down here and pointed the camera at me, it was pointing at the door instead of at the backdrop. And I went, So Amanda came back over and we turned the desk like 20 degrees. So now when I sit here and point the camera at me, it's pointing at the backdrop again. This all took us several hours, by the way, because one bookshelf was full of books. The other bookshelf was full of freaking magic. So I had to pile all that in the floor, move the shelf, pile everything back up. This is just a large pain in the ass. But now I have this big open area for VR, which is awesome. And Thrill of the Fight is still like, it's not big enough. And I'm like, screw you. But so yeah, exercise. And then I had the idea, why don't I start making smoothies? Because back in the day, when I would go visit Megan and Casey, they had the smoothie breakfast every day. That was just the thing. And I went, and they would make me one because I was there. I'm like, aw. And I was like, that doesn't seem like it's too much hassle. So Amanda had a bullet blender thing that she let me borrow. And JT Huffy in the Discord gave me, here's what I use. And I was like, awesome. And I went in and bought all that stuff. And it turns out I don't actually need some of it. So I don't know what to do with the honey because I'm probably going to stop using the honey. But he was like, it's frozen, fruit and like some ice and some honey. And I'm like, word. And then Amanda was like, you can't just use that. You got to throw some spinach in there. And I went, ew? In a fruit smoothie? She's like, you won't taste it. It's there for the, the vitamins, the good stuff. So you're not just eating sugar. And I went, okay. And she's right. I don't taste it. So I got some frozen spinach too. And she gave me some like protein, some like plant protein or something. So I'm getting more, goodness out of it. And I said, okay, thank you. And I have now been making smoothies today was smoothie number 7. So I've been making smoothies for a week straight. And it's not a chore. Because I'm really bad that's why I never learned how to cook. Not because I didn't want to, because I know how I am. And I know that I'm not going to take the time to do that. It's all I can do to force myself to eat it, to make a damn sandwich. Like, come on. It's one of the places where I'm super lazy. But the smoothie process, it turns out, is nice and simple once I figured it out. Which her blender, like, I've literally never used a blender before. Mm-hmm. So, and it's a little bullet blender where you just put the thing on and turn it and it goes, wah, and that's it. Like, there's not 40 buttons or anything. So it's got one setting, and that's wah. But once I figured out, occasionally you have to pick it up and shake it. Oh. Uh-huh. Yeah. I was like, I still hear chunks. I don't understand. Idiot. So yeah, now I've started making smoothies every day, and I actually ran out of the strawberries and bananas mix that I had. So now I've got like a berry thing and like a mixed fruit thing that's got, I forget what, because it was right next to the tropical mixed fruit thing and I didn't get the tropical one. So I don't remember what's in it, but it's various, it's fruit that's mixed. Amazing. And yeah, doing that. And then I had the idea today. So every time that I dash, I grab one of these sparkling ice, bottles of flavored water. It says 0 sugar with vitamins and antioxidants. I don't know how much of that is true. I mean, 0 sugar because I think it's got Splenda in it.
Yeah.
I think it's sucralose. Yeah, that's Splenda, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But it's still like the primary source of my like waste. Oh, that's the other thing. I started recycling last year finally. Because the apartment complex doesn't do it, so I have to do it all myself. So I'm lazy. But I bought another trash can to make it, easier on me. Mm-hmm. And that works amazingly enough. Yeah. And the recycling center is like right over there. So.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's pitiful that all these years I haven't been. But of course, now that I'm started recycling, I've stopped drinking Mountain Dew, and I'm just gonna stop drinking these. But yeah, I grabbed one to take with me to dash because you got to have something to drink while you're dashing, whether it's hot or not. At some point, I'm like, I gotta have something to drink. And when I forget my drink, I get pissed because that means this dash is gonna suck, and it does. But I realized that years ago, a listener sent me a couple of Tervis cups. And I was like, I could just put water in those, which I stopped using when I started drinking, flavored water instead of just straight water. I started just putting the flavoring in the water in my regular cups. I'm like, well, these are too nice to just use for sitting here at my desk. So they're up in the cabinet. But Tervis cups are portable. So I could pour water in it and then squirt the flavor and then put the lid on it and take it with me and not have to use up a bottle of plastic every single day. So, hey! I thought about that today or yesterday. I think it was today. I'm just trying to incrementally improve my life. Just make things a little bit better.
Yeah, good for you. I
Thank you,
remember at the beginning of COVID, what we thought of at the time certainly had to be the middle or, the end. But, I was doing positive things because I was home. We were going on walks. Sam was home, so we would go on walks around the neighborhood, just stay away from everybody, but go on walks.
Yeah.
Built a fence with my own two hands. Actually got some
Yeah.
biceps for a little while. Built a raised garden and started to grow our own food, which, by the way, we are not good at, but we keep trying. And it's just, and over the passage of time, it's so much of that has just kind of settled back into the same old routine. So good on you. Hope you can keep it up.
Hopefully. Like I said, it's not like a New Year's thing because I made the decision to cut out the Mountain Dew and Pop-Tarts like in December. So, because, a New Year's thing is like, oh, in 2022, I'm going to... But this is not a New Year's resolution thing. This is just, honestly, some shit I should have been doing for a long time. So...
Yeah. I hardly ever keep up with the meh when it's part of my resolutions. So.
I don't know if I've ever made New Year's resolutions.
It's not a regular thing with me. I have done it when I felt like something was important enough to be like, I really want to do this, and still it does not always work. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna keep boxing and Beat Sabering and lose some weight, be more limber.
Good on you.
Drink my milk and get real big and kick everyone's ass, or however that goes.
Yeah. Good on you with the smoothies too. That's good.
Oh yeah, and JT was like, I use this much in the coconut milk, and he showed me a picture of his before he blended it, and it's up to the top. And I put in up to the fill line, which is significantly lower than the top. And all I can taste is coconut milk with like hints of fruit. It's been an ongoing thing. I think JT Huffy's taster is broken. He's like, that's weird. I don't taste much of the coconut milk. I'm like, what? And Kim in the Discord was like, oh, it's probably because I took a picture of my coconut milk. And I was like, well, here's what I'm using. And JT was like, I haven't used that one yet. But Kim Ho was like, oh, it's because you've got the sweetened one. You probably get the unsweetened one. You won't taste it as much. And I went, oh, okay, well, maybe JT Huffy's taster isn't broken. And then JT looked at his and said, nope, mine has more sugar than yours. So I think my taster's broken.
Your taster or his taster?
His taster. Amanda thinks maybe the frozen fruit I got just didn't have enough fruit flavor. She's like, how much fruit are you using? Because in my first one, I didn't use enough, like, at all. And I've been slowly adding more and more and more and more fruit. Amanda's like, have you tried just tasting it before you blend it? Maybe you just got a bland batch. I'm like, I'm not going to chew on frozen fruit. That seems weird. She's like, frozen fruit is delicious. You go to hell. Oh. So now I'm going to try the berry mix tomorrow and see if that has a more pronounced flavor. I've also switched to half coconut milk and half oat milk just to keep using the coconut milk so it doesn't go bad, to get rid of it. And that helped a lot too, because coconut milk is way stronger than oat milk as far as just the overpowering everything else, apparently. It's all just a big ass experiment is what's going on at this point.
It's science.
It is. Like, I bought honey because JT was like, I use honey. And I've forgotten to put honey in the last 2 days and completely didn't notice. And I'm like, and Scott, you guys remember Scott? Yay. Scott was like, you could probably cut out the honey and that'll just remove some calories. And I went, because it's not like I use like a lot of honey. It's just like JT said something like a couple of spoonfuls. So I just squirt, go, done. Maybe, and that's it. Because it's a squirt bottle. Not the one shaped like a bear, unfortunately.
I have one of those.
Shaped like a bear?
Ones. Yeah.
Nice. Mine is just raw honey from Aldi. The only time I'd ever been to Aldi was once with Amanda, back before the world ended, because we had gone to get food or something. She's like, oh, I gotta run by the grocery store real quick. Let's go to Aldi. I'm like, all right. And now I've been to Aldi since I started making smoothies. I've been to Aldi 3 times.
World.
Do what?
I said moving up in the world.
Is it?
That's where we go grocery shopping. I don't
Aldi's
go to Food Lion or any places like that.
Aldi's
it's
a
Aldi
weird
for
ass
us.
place.
Well, it's like they have their own brands, but it's significantly more affordable than going to the main supermarket places. And I feel like you get more for your buck. Like, you get more of it.
I've been converted to Lidl, Lidl.
Something
Is that a sex thing?
No, it's a lot like what Dirk's talking about. Lower
Yeah.
prices and in some cases higher or at least the same quality. It's where we get our produce now.
Yeah.
Because the produce there tends to be much better.
Like, I only go to the regular grocery store if it's I've got to get this one item right now. And
that is the thing I've noticed at Aldi is they might just not have any of it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Ow.
But if I'm like I'm going for groceries for the week, it's Aldi for me.
Nice. Like, probably just because of the shopping center it's in. I just never went there because it's a really crappy shopping center, the one here in Kernersville. So I was like, let's not go over there. Although that is where the best Chinese place, my favorite Chinese place in town is, so. Although Amanda despises it. She's like, that food's nasty. She's eaten there once, and it wasn't great. So she's decided that it's nasty. But as a DoorDasher, I love it because when I have an order there, I go get it, and it's ready. Whereas the other Chinese place in town that's on DoorDash, when I'll get a text that says, this order's ready, hurry up. And I'm like, damn it. And then I get there and I have to wait 10 minutes. Because whoever is in charge of the DoorDash machine just hit the, it's done button to get it off the screen. But it's not ready. Even though it said it was ready 15 minutes ago. I'm still waiting. Jesus Christ, I hope this place burns down. Like, it's one of those. Like, I've got another order in the car getting cold because this one said it was ready. So, yeah. Okay, on a completely unrelated note, this is the thing that came to light today, which I find hilarious. So, there are a total of like 3... The whole time, I've been DoorDashing for 2 years now, which floors me. But the whole time I've been doing this, there have been a total of like 3 people that work at restaurants that are like nice people who will, do more than just, what do you got? And there's the girl that works at East Coast Wings. She was the first and the only one for a very long time. And then there's the nice lady at Amalfi's. She's a trip. And then there's the chick that works the front at Little Caesars, and I just love her to death. Like I couldn't figure out words for it, so I described it to Amanda as like a big brother crush. Like I don't want to take her out, but I want to like make sure she's safe. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And Amanda's like, so you have a crush on her? I'm like, no. She's like 12. Like, no. Amanda's like, she is not. And I'm like, yeah, she is. And so I mentioned, like, Amanda said where she was cleaning out something, like she and her daughter were cleaning up the apartment or something. She's like, there's an owl outside hooting, and it made my night. And I'm like, well, I got to see Girl at Little Caesars, and it made my night. She's like, you really should ask her out. I'm like, she's seriously like 12. Amanda's like, she is not. She's older than that. She's like, at least, and threw out an age that I'm not going to tell you, but was still like too young for me. 41, mind you. And I was like, okay, well, no. And even so, I'm still 41. And she was like, whatever, Chewie. I'm going to ask her. And I went, please don't do that. That would be weird. And I was like, I'm going to do it because I am nosy. I was like, yes, you are. And luckily, when Amanda went in last night, she wasn't working. But I went in today and she was working, and I was like, okay, I have a really bizarre question I have to ask, because she knows my name and everything, and she's like, as soon as I get there, she lights up and wants to tell me about her day, and it just makes me happy. I'm like, I have a really weird question to ask you. She's like, what's that? I'm like, I figured you'd rather hear this question from me than from someone that you're not on speaking terms with, but like, this is essentially a bet that you're settling between me and a friend. She's like, okay. I'm like, how old are you? She went, 19. And I went, ha ha. And she went, what? I was like, I told her. It's like, told who? I'm like, it's another friend of mine who DoorDashes that thinks you're not very young. And she's like, oh no, I'm very young. And I was like, I know. So I asked Amanda today, I'm like, did we have anything writing on that little discussion about how old she is? And it's like, why? I'm like, because I won.
Yeah, and 19 is not like we're old. We're old now. So 19 used to not be so long ago, and now it really is.
Right?
Yep.
Ow. Like, the creepy number is what? Half your age plus 7? Like, she fails the first step of that. But yeah, I was very pleased with myself for being, observant and paying attention. And Amanda, who is nosy as hell, was not. I was like, ha! Luckily, she doesn't watch the streams, or I'd be catching hell for it in text messages right now. Ow. I think you should ask her out. I think you've lost your mind. It's like a big brother crush. Like, I want to take her out for ice cream and like make sure no one ever talks bad to her,
Yeah, yeah. Kind of give evil eyes at any of the pervs that come around, which they all are because
I mean, because I'm
you're a
there.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations. You now know exactly how I feel anytime I look at Sam growing up. So
I'm sure it's not exactly how you feel. Yours is probably way, more intense and deeper and more satisfying. Whereas I'm just like, I hope she's okay.
they're similar. Intensity is probably the key thing, but
Yeah. Yeah, but when I asked her that, she told me her age, and she's like, yeah, there's this dude who was like in his 30s who kept hitting on me, and finally one day I was like, by the way, I'm 19, and he shut up real fast. I was like, I bet.
A coworker told me a story about how she and her daughter, and she had her daughter, I think, fairly young, so they look similar in age, right? And her daughter is I think at the time of this story was like a 15-year-old. Um, but they were checking out at in line to check out at Walmart. And I think she said the guy in front of them, behind, it doesn't really matter for the point of the story, but was basically really like giving a lot of looks and like to her daughter. And at first she was just kind of trying to stay out of it, but after one or two more, she was like, "What are you trying to do with her?" And the guy basically said, "Oh, that's none of your business." And she's like, "Oh, hell no." And if you know this coworker, this is not somebody you say that to at all. And she's like, "Do you know how old she is?" And he said something to the effect of, he said, "She looks old enough." And I think at that
Whoa!
point, yeah, I think at
Mhm.
that point, you know, there was gonna there was gonna be blood, but luckily he kind of played it off like a joke or whatever. And but you could tell he wasn't completely joking, and she was just like, ugh. And this guy was not like 40s, but probably late 20s, early 30s, and was making advances on a 15-year-old.
Whoa!
So yeah, Walmart, man,
This is
that
where
should
I
tell
need a
you.
bruh button. This so, the that was easy button.
Yeah.
I want one of those, but when I push it, it goes bruh. And I tried to find one online, and I couldn't anywhere that wasn't an extremely sketchy site that would probably just take my money and my credit card information and run.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is too bad. If anyone knows how to make a bruh button, let a brother know because I think that would be excellent for streaming and for life. I just carry it in my pocket. Bruh. Yep.
Well, gentlemen, I need to type up an order before tomorrow, so I'm going to go ahead
Can
and
I
bid
get
you
extra cheese?
yes.
Excellent.
I will type up this order, a written request for discovery, so that a DA will turn over their notes in the case to me, and I will sprinkle it with cheese. And when I give it to Walter, he'll be like, "Why does this have cheese?" And I'm like, "Hey, it was part of the order." So,
Oh, and no onions, please. Thank you.
and no, I will totally not put onions on it because
Appreciate you.
that would be gross. So, but you guys enjoy the rest of your discussion. Uh, the two of you that aren't Chewy, were we gonna try to do anything this weekend? I think we had said no, right?
I don't remember what we said.
I'll send an email tomorrow, so, or later tonight, depending on how long this order takes me to get together. So,
Word. Well, have a good night, B.
thank you. You too.
Hmm.
And they made me their chief.
Yeah, they did. But like a thing that I've noticed is that ever since I got the virtual reality headset, all I want to do is put it on other people. Like I took it
Uh,
to the parents' house, and Mom tried it out, and she's so cute. The old man wouldn't try it. I think because he thought you have to be standing. So and he was feeling kind of wobbly. Oh man, the parents got a new back bathroom.
oh, just a renovated one or completely new?
Uh, they they had a tub that they didn't use because
Uh-huh.
they're old,
Yeah.
and they had this tiny little shower. Like when I go visit the parents, the last thing I do before I leave is take a shower. Well, if I'm gonna go stay with the parents, so for Christmas,
Hmm.
I take a shower because I'm gonna spend the next day with the parents. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna take a shower the next day because I hate showering there because it's a teeny tiny little shower and like you have to duck in your elbows before you turn. in case you hit the wall or something. Like it's
Okay.
freaking awful. And I've been after Mom to like, or after them for a while. Why don't y'all redo this bathroom? And finally, with the money they got from Nana, when all of the estate was handled and all that, they finally decided, yep, let's get this done. And so they've got this, where the tub was is now a big ass shower. And
Okay.
where the shower was is going to be a nice, like, I don't want to call it a pantry because it's in the bathroom, but it's going to be like a cabinet, like the pantry in the kitchen. That's, well, not floor to ceiling because there's going to be a room under it to put the hamper. But, you know, so mostly floor to ceiling. And there's a guy who makes custom cabinets in town, just down the street apparently, who has come and made measurements and whatnot. And yeah, Mom finally got to try it out, and she's like, it's really good, but it's very slippery. So they had to go buy a like a mat of some sort so they didn't, you know, bust their ass. But I'm very proud of them for getting a new shower, because not only was it tiny, but you also, like, the door opened. Okay, so it was up against the wall, but the door opened from the wrong way. So instead of opening the door towards the wall, you opened it away from the wall. Like, what the hell? What kind of an idiot built this house? And then I remember who built the house, and I go, ah, right. So, yeah. I'm so proud of them that after all these years, they've got a shower that isn't stupid. And the old man's like, it's nice. I can turn around and not worry about breaking my elbow. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Because he kept saying, I don't have any problem with the shower. I'm like, it's not a matter of a problem. It's a matter that it sucks. But anyway, so just threw that out because that happened the day after I took the headset over to the parents' house. But yeah, Mom did the little first steps thing, the little tutorial thing that you do. Amanda was here with me when I tried it out for the first time because I wanted her to try it too. When I was first getting everything all set up, we got Amanda's daughter in here to try it out, and she screwed around in the first steps thing for like 40 minutes. Finally, I had to like throw them out. I'm like, look, I need to eat and stream, so I love y'all, but get the hell out of my apartment. Yeah. I'm like, this because it's so cool. It's not like the future of gaming or any of that. Because I'm pretty sure by and large I would much rather sit down with a controller in my hand and, you know, play Dead Cells, but or that sort of thing. But yeah, that's why, like, I've done, I think, not counting this one, probably 5 or 6 streams this year maybe, and most of them were VR streams because it's a new thing and I want to share it with everyone who can't see it themselves. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I keep trying to get Mike over here. I'm like, Mike, I know your life sucks right now. You should come over and put on a headset. It'll make you feel better. And like he said earlier, his wife's all excited, so hopefully let's go see Chewie. Yeah, let's go see Chewie. Come on. Get your ass over here. Yeah. I need the world to get better so I can go visit Megan and Casey again and take it to them. Because Casey asked, like, oh God, sometime in the middle of last year on Facebook, do I know anybody with a VR headset? I want to try it out, but I'm sort of prone to motion sickness, so I want to not spend the money first. Now I do. And it would give me an excuse to go visit. Not that I need an excuse, but, you know. So if we could just, you know, flatten the curve horizontally instead of flattening it vertically. Jesus Christ. because there are people in other parts of the world that I need to see, but it's still not safe. Because I don't want to get anything between here and there and then, give it to them or give it to the parents or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. But yeah. That's also why I'm not playing like new things on the headset like here. I'm only doing it on stream, except for the boxing thing, because I played Creed on stream and I'm like, it's the same idea, which it's exactly the same idea. So that one I didn't feel bad about trying out. But stuff that I've already played, like Beat Saber or Zombieland, yeah, I'll play the hell out of here during the day for exercise. But anything else, I'm like, oh, I better save this for the stream. Because if I don't like it, I won't want to play it on stream. There's a racing game that I have that was part of that bundle. How the hell do you do a racing game on VR? I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. But it's a thing. When I was telling Mike, I was like, Mike, there's a version of Rez in VR. And Mike went, oh, really? Because, okay, so back in the day, when Mike and I would like hang out, invariably Don Juan would be involved. We would go eat Mexican food at Don Juan. And invariably when we'd come back home, I'd be like, Mike, I gotta go for a few minutes. And I would, go to the toilet. And when I'd come back out, Mike would be on my 360 playing Rez. Mike got way further in Rez than I ever even thought about, ever. Because Mike knows how to inhabit the music, I guess. Because that's what you do in Rez. You are part of the music. And
we finished the game one time when I was there, right?
You finished the game one time when you were here.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think I ever got past like the third section. Or third system? What the hell were those levels called?
I don't recall.
You know what I mean, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't have Rez Infinite, but if it'll get Mike over here, I'll buy Rez Infinite. Apparently it's just Rez with an extra level at the end. Area X or Sector X or whatever it's called.
Huh. Neat.
But it's in VR. Like, oh. Ow. So yeah, that's the plan, is to get the headset on everyone's head so they can try it out. Because it's not like virtual reality, like I said at the beginning of all this, has been prohibitively expensive for a very long time. And now that it's still expensive, but it's not like prohibitively expensive. It's slightly more well known, but there's still like 17 ass loads of people that have never ever had a VR helmet on their head. And now that I have one, here, try this. This is really cool. And because you can cast it to your phone or to a computer on the same network, I can see what they're doing. So I could be like, no, the thing to your left. No, your other left. Yeah, click that. What? With the trigger button. No, that's the grip button. The trigger. There you go. Click that. Okay, now click that. Okay, now you're playing this. Oh! So, yeah.
I can't remember whether I ended up getting VR versions of some of the Myst games in a package that I got on Steam.
The original Myst does have a VR version.
Okay.
And I think it's somewhat newish.
Yeah, I know it is recent. I can't remember whether it came with a package of codes that I got when I backed a Kickstarter project for something.
Who knows? That's on my wish list on the Quest too. Because I've never played Myst, so why not play it in VR?
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that's on the list. Like the main reason, I'm not gonna lie, was Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4. I don't do favorites with somebody. What's your favorite such and such? I just look at them. I'm like, I don't know. But like Resident Evil 4 is one of, if not the favorite game. Like it's real high.
It's really good. It's so good.
And like I've played it on two different systems to completion at least once. Like I own it on Steam too. Because that's always been a plan. It was okay, I'm going to stream this at some point because I love this game, and that's the whole thing that I do is I play games I love and I stream them, share them with people, you know. Because believe it or not, there are people that haven't played Resident Evil 4, and don't pity them. Okay, well, do pity them a little bit, but just share with them. It's fine. So I was like, oh, one of these days I'm going to actually get around to playing and streaming Resident Evil 4. But then the VR thing came out, and I was like, surely that sucks. And then Jacob Geller was like, holy crap, you guys, this is so good. And I went, son of a bitch. It was on his like top 10 games of 2021. He's like, check it out. I managed to get a game from 2004? 6? Resident Evil 4 came out in 2014. Yeah, thanks. 2005. There we go. I was all around. He's like, I managed to get a game from 2005 in my top 10 games of 2021. But I'm working my way up to that. I want to get better at VRing on the whole before I fool with that one. But yeah. I think Super Hot might be the next one that I actually purchase. Because I loved Super Hot on PC. Like, I loved it. Like, it was so good. But there's something to, like, picking up a thing and throwing it at that guy and then turning your head and seeing a bullet sitting, like, at the end of your nose. That is, what's the word? Sobering. Turned my head and went, ho! Because the whole thing with Super Hot, in case you don't know, is time only moves when you move. And in VR, that means moving your head or your hands. So it's, like I just froze like a deer in the headlights. Like, and I tried to back away, and I couldn't, and I got shot in the face, and had to start over. And I was like, damn it! Like, I didn't even see that bullet! Come on! So, yeah. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Oh, one more thing. The new DLC for Dead Cells came out. It's called The Queen and the Sea. And I backed the difficulty down to... I'm on, like, Expert, which is 3 boss cells. I backed it back down to 1 boss cell so I could see the new content because it's all late game content. And I couldn't get to the late game on 3 boss cells. And... I died a couple times stupidly trying to get there, but by the time I actually got to the new content, I beat it on the first try because I had just the sickest ass build for that run. And like the ship level is massive and sprawling and has a new weapon that's in the level instead of like as a secret thing you can find instead of as, you know, a shop or a random drop. No, there's a trident that's just part of the level. Oh, really? And then the boss fight after that is completely chaotic. Like you're climbing and being chased by a thing, and then you fight the thing, and you beat the thing relatively easily. And then you start climbing again, and now there's two of them. And then you fight them both. And then you start climbing again, and now there's three of them, and you have to fight all three of them, and that's the end of that. And I managed to get through it, and it was insanely stressful and awesome, because it reminded me a lot more of, like, I don't know, The Messenger or Hades than it did Dead Cells. And I'm really good at The Messenger and Hades. So... And then the final boss, the Queen, she was so awesome. She kept, like, reflecting my projectiles back at me and whatnot. But, like I said, my build was so incredibly sick that I just destroyed her on my first go. It's like, I don't even think I had to heal. Maybe once during that fight, which is ridiculous. Like, the final boss, before that, the hand of the Emperor or whatever, I have to heal fighting him like 4 times. And he's not that complicated. But against the Queen, I guess I had to achieve flow state, because I was just feeling it, and it was so good. The new DLC is really good, by the way. It's like $5. If you have Dead Cells, you should get it. It's freaking awesome. Hashtag not an ad. Hashtag feel free to sponsor me. It's okay. Now that's what I've been up to. VR and self-improvement and rearranging my office and smoothies and Dead Cells DLC. And DoorDash. Oh my god, I spend half my life at Papa John's these days. Apparently Papa John's has hit a shortage of delivery drivers, probably because they don't want to pay them enough. Is my guess. I don't know if that's, the case or not, but suddenly I get a lot more Papa. Like, I would say over the last, month or so, half or maybe even over half of all of my DoorDash orders are Papa John's. And they all say this is a delivery, or this is a merchant requested delivery. So I asked one of the people there, I was like, what does this mean? She's like, oh, well, we don't have enough drivers, so we have a deal with DoorDash to, request them if we need it. And I went, oh. So, yeah, I just freaking live at Papa John's when I'm dashing. It's ridiculous. Like, a bunch of them started recognizing me, and one even knows my name. I've never told them my name. But it's because it shows up on the little DoorDash thing, and Chewie is arriving. Like, oh. He's like, you're Chewie, right? And I was like, yeah. And I looked down, and it was raining that night, so I was wearing my cloth mask, which is Chewbacca. And I went, oh, I'm wearing the Chewie mask, aren't I? He went, I mean... that, and you're in here all the time, and it tells me your name. And I went, I did not know that. I stopped eating at Papa John's a long time ago because it kept messing with my stomach. And with having so much Papa John's in the car, I have zero interest in ever eating Papa John's again. That's like, oh, based on my newfound skills from Zombieland, I've decided that in the event of a zombie apocalypse, I will still die first. Yeah. I'm just saying.
You just don't have it in you to keep fighting under pressure, or at least not consistently.
Dude, in VR, when I'm shooting in that direction and I hear a bleh behind me, I freak out. I'm like, ah! And I turn and shoot. And then time slows down because if they're that close, I shoot them in the head and I'm able to recover. But in real life, time doesn't slow down. That's not how adrenaline works, bruh. Bruh. So, yeah. it's just not gonna. That I don't have any guns myself, so there's that. But that's okay. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, half of the population won't believe it.
Big news, right?
Yeah, exactly. I found a meme that like hit so hard. It was a tweet actually that hit so hard that I had to save it. It said, "Me after watching any Marvel movie after Endgame. Wait, so society is expected to just carry on as if this insane collective trauma never happened? That's ridiculous." And then me in 2022. Oh.
Yes, I saw that on Facebook the other day.
Yeah, I think Serrano probably shared it.
Probably.
If you and I both saw it.
He shares everything.
It constantly, like it's one of the only reasons that I didn't deactivate my Facebook account, which now I can't because I have a freaking Oculus. So, but
Well, if they still have the Oculus customer service department up and running, that means you'll be able to actually get customer service for Facebook. Oh, I think I told you about like in I think it was back in 2020 when one of my cousins got his Facebook account stolen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what he did after reading some advice on the internet about the best way to do it was he bought an Oculus so he could talk to their customer service and actually get his account back.
Wow.
Instead of trying to deal with Facebook customer service who are near useless, as is what I hear.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wow. That makes me angry on so many levels.
Yeah, because he needed to do something pretty fast because he's a PE teacher and he was using his Facebook to post like content for his students while they were all at home. So yeah, he needed something done quickly. And that's what he ended up doing.
Lord. It's like you remember it was tax season last year when my my Twitter account got stolen.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, the only reason I got it back is because Clues was like, "Okay, look. I have a buddy who works for Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to?" "Yes, please do." He's like, "Okay." And the guy like put him through the ringer. He's like, "How well do you know this guy?" He's like, "Really well. One of my best friends. Yes, I will gladly. Yes, he is a sure bet. He's not a creep. He's on the level. He's legit." I was like, "Oh, thanks, Clues."
He does not date 19-year-olds.
Even when his friend tells him to. Buh.
Well, as much as I would love to stay in chat, I unfortunately have to go to bed.
Yeah, we should probably stop because Mike probably has more work to do anyway.
Yeah, I need to do at least a little bit, I think.
He says half asleep already.
Yeah, so I think I need to reevaluate that thought.
Lord. Well then, chat's been awful quiet, but that's okay. Like when I click on users in chat, there's like 40 billion people here, and I think they're all bots. Which this is way more than usual, so I don't know what's going on there. Have to go blocking some bots if just so I can get my users in chat under control. Jesus Christ. But anyway, yeah, so this has been our first show of 2022. I think next week we'll probably start with Kamigawa, and that'll just last for the rest of the year. because I don't think previews officially start until the next week. But they've just been dropping stuff, not necessarily cards, but like literally everything else, just constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there will be cards by the time we record next week. And if not, we'll do something else and then start Kamigawa and then the week after that and then go forever.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll get Brian to do another RPG episode soon.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when we're all here. And yeah. But with that, we appreciate everyone coming to join us. Oh, you know what? It's 2022, so let's reiterate that Black Lives Matter. Trans rights are human rights. By the way, you should see The Matrix Resurrections. Holy crap.
There is only one race, the human race.
It's true. Yeah, it turns out race is a social construct. Did you know that? Money's fake too. Hey.
Yeah.
There's so much cool stuff that we could do if we could get our heads wrapped around those two things. The last 2, 3, 4 years have just radicalized me something fierce. The idea that everyone should be able to afford to have healthcare and to like afford food and shelter is somehow radical. I don't know what that's about. That's how stupid our society is. Let's see. Is there anything else? I guess those two will work for now. But you can't say trans rights are human rights without going, oh my god, the new Matrix movie. Anyone who didn't realize that the original Matrix movie was a trans story, it was. You're probably not going to realize it about the Matrix Resurrections either, but because they don't specifically say trans people, but it totally is. Just holy crap. Even my incredibly thick skulled ass was like, oh. But anyway. But everyone, be good to each other. Unless, you know, others aren't being good. And I guess then be savage. Yeah. But we're going to shut up now. I'm going to shut up. So this has been Dorks Just Chatting. First one of 2022. I hope everyone had a good whatever holiday and a good new year and all of that good stuff. And I hope that 2022 is not horrible for you. That's all the hope I can muster these days, unfortunately. So thank you all so very much for joining us. And Happy New Year. Is it too late for that? It's too late for that, isn't it? I'm saying it anyway. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Not you. Well, you too.
Well, then screw you, buddy.
Tease.